Okay, I'm about to show you guys something absolutely crazy. This is mind-blowing and something I guarantee you've not seen before. No one's taken the time to show this to you, but I'm going to prove to you just how straightforward and simple it can be to just absolutely explode your bottom line, how much money you're earning through a proper funnel, through what you're doing now, but just with little teeny tiny tweaks. So what I have here is, let me show you what we're talking about here. These are Facebook ads, or what I have here, and I have this entire funnel hooked up to calculators that are going to give us real-time results based on these tweets, so you can see how much money you're earning on the other side of the funnel. So how cool is that? We're going to actually see dollars and cents here. So we're looking at Facebook ads. So if I open this up, here's what I've input. So in this simulation, I've assumed 1,000 clicks per month, spending about 70 cents cost per click. Now, it's very realistic, isn't it? Because most loan officers are getting somewhere around this vicinity. Some of you guys are spending more cost per click. Some of you are spending less. So basically, you're spending $700 a month on your traffic. So the average loan officer I talk to seems to be kind of cutting things off at around $400 to $500 a month. But let's bump up the numbers just a little bit here, because that's really, if you're spending under $500 a month, you're really bottlenecking yourself here. And I'm going to show you why. You're going to see exactly why I'm saying that in just a second. The next stage here, this is the qualification stage. So we're going to send them, once they click on a Facebook ad, we're going to send them to an opt-in page that that qualifies them, and ask them to put their name, email, phone number. So this could be a landing page, or this could be Facebook lead ads. But I got this set at just 10% conversion. So 90% of the people are going to walk away without filling it out. So we go from 1,000 individuals that click, but only 100 people that convert. So realistic, right? Very realistic. A 10% conversion rate. Not that hard to get at all. Okay. So the next stage, what are we looking at? This is the scheduling a phone call stage. So that's the stage where we actually either you're going to call people and try to track them down, or more appropriately, you should have a page that automates and does that for you, a calendar page. So again, I have this set at just 10% like previous. So again, out of the 100 leads you just captured, 90% of them are going to opt to not schedule that appointment. 90% of them. So again, we're being very realistic. These are very real world numbers here. And then finally, we send them over to a thank you page after that. So there's no call to action here. So there's really no conversion loss there. But let's look at our next conversion loss, is the phone call. So when you actually call them, I have this set at just 30% conversion rate. So that's 70% of the people that either are not going to pick up, or you're going to call them and then they're going to have changed their mind, or they're going to say something where you say, you know what, I can't help you. So there's going to be some sort of disqualifying factor for almost 3/4 of the people that you call. So we started off with 1,000 people, then 100. Now we're down to just 3 people. Okay, so spitting out the other end here, basically what we end up with when we actually simulate, let's click the simulate button and watch what happens. We end up with 1 closing. So I have my number set at $3,500 per closed loan. Okay, very doable, right? Most of you can generate at least $3,500 per closing. But for those of you that cannot, we could even adjust these numbers down or up. But I averaged $3,500 because there's a lot of you guys in high cost states doing 5, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 per loan. But then there's a lot of you in the low cost states, you may be earning only $2,500 per closing. So I kind of went with a happy medium here, a good solid round number of $3,500. But this can all be changed. But you can see here that your profit's only $2,700 a month, and that's because it factored in your traffic costs here, right? So $700, but I also threw in another $99 in the other category to account for your software. So you're going to need an autoresponder or CRM or landing page software. So you're going to need some sort of software, probably 2 pieces of software to run this funnel. This is a very, very simple funnel, okay? Now, if we talked about what most loan officers are running, they're not even running this good of a funnel. Usually there would only be 2 line items here, and that's a problem. But let's go ahead, and I'll talk about that at another time. Let's go ahead and make our first tweak. I'm going to make just teeny tiny tweaks here, and I'm going to watch this number over here change in real time. So let's go in here and let's address the first problem that most loan officers have, and that is their ad spending. So when I look at what they're spending, I say, you know what? When you deal with small numbers, because what we're dealing with is logic and math here. In the world of math, with small numbers, for you to see improvements on the other end, You have to make big successful changes. Your changes have to be home runs practically to see big changes on the other end of the scale. For example, if I were to come in here and change 1,000 monthly visitors to 1,050 monthly visitors, what do you think that's going to do for me? So I click simulate, and the numbers weren't even big enough. Look, I actually, my numbers went down because those extra 50 clicks cost me more money, but the numbers weren't big enough at these conversion rates for me to realize an extra closing. So I could just come in here and piecemeal this little chunks at a time and go, okay, well, now I'm going to put it in 1,100 visitors, et cetera, and just do this little by little. But all I'm going to do is burn myself out. So I'm just going to go in and say, okay, let's just throw in an extra 500. So I'm upping my numbers by 50%. So yes, I'm going to spend more on my clicks, but because of the law of averages, I know that if I'm averaging a 10% conversion here on the front end, and with all these secondary conversion rates factored in, I know that when I crunch my numbers, that statistically speaking, I'm going to get another closing. So now I went from $2,700 a month, barely able to pay my bills, to now I have $5,800, almost $6,000 a month. So I'm at close to $72,000 a month in my profit. Okay, now my revenue's higher, but of course I have my I have my monthly expenses. So my gross is $7,000 a month now. So I went from $3,500 a month to $7,000 a month. So I've more than doubled my profit though, because I've absorbed my costs. So because now I'm spreading out, instead of spreading out those costs over just one loan, I'm spreading it out over two loans. So my profit went up at a higher ratio. So that's why I was able to toss on an extra $3,000, $3,100 actually, in my take home, right? In my profit at least. So that's the magic of the law of averages, is most loan officers are too afraid to spend enough for the law of averages to really do their thing. When you're dealing with small numbers, you need huge improvements and huge numbers on this end and on this end and on this end, every step of the way, to even move the needle. And it's that fear that's holding them back, that's causing problems. But let me tell you, when we fix this on the front end, now I can come in here and I have the confidence to do a proper A/B split test. So now all I really need to do at this stage is I'm just going from 10 to 13%. I'm just increasing my conversion rate just by 3%. Let me tell you, my average is between 18 and 25% on my landing pages. So I'm being very, very pessimistic and conservative here with my opt-in rate. So all I'm doing is changing it from 10% to 13%. But I have big numbers coming in here, relatively speaking, on the front end of my funnel with my traffic. So now if I click simulate again, look at what that extra 3% gets me. Guys, with just two changes, I just jumped from $2,700 to close to $10,000 in my monthly profit. My gross is now $10,500. But again, in the name of realism, let's come in here and say, okay, well, when I start spending more money, I'm going to have more other expenses as well, because I'm going to need to purchase some other software, right, to make sure that some of this stuff is a reality. So I've upped my spending on my software by over 200%. So I went from $99 a month, so under $100 a month, to now $250 a month. So I am spending more on traffic. So when I click that simulate button, it's going to go ahead and kind of docks me a little bit of my profit, but that's okay. I'm not struggling anymore. Who cares? I can afford an extra couple $100 a month when I was earning just $2,700 a month. Now I have $9,200 a month. But now at this stage, you know what? At this stage, a lot of loan officers drop the ball. They're not really giving people a reason to want to do business with them. So I'm just going to bump that up to 12% instead of 10%, right? And just by making small changes there, again, we're going to see what happens. So now I went from $9,000 to $12,700 a month in my profit. Nice. The phone call stage. A lot of loan officers struggle here because they don't utilize video and engagement, pre-call engagement tools. That we should be swapping out this thank you page with proper engagement tools so that prior to the call, the people get pumped up and they're given reasons why they need to talk to you and why they should talk to you, and reasons to get excited about you. Some of the things I've actually demonstrated earlier in this week in some of the tutorials and samples that I sent you. But just a 5% increase at this stage And look at what happens. I go from the 12 grand point to 16,000. So my gross is 17,500. So again, I could come in here and say, okay, well now I'm going to have even higher expenses because I have even more software and things. You know, these things that people avoid buying because they're, oh, well, they're expensive. Well, they're not so expensive when you're putting up these types of numbers anymore. Rather, they are the drivers that are helping you sustain these types of numbers. So yeah, I'm going to be doxed another 100 or so, but I'm still at over $16,000 a month. Who cares? I don't, right? So now I'm heavy, solid six-figure earner. But let me tell you guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop here. But we have not even begun to talk about all the waste and inefficiency that's happening in this funnel. As I look at this funnel, I go, my God, we are missing so much here. These numbers over here can look so much better, and all they take is little small tweaks here. For example, let's look at the fact that we're pushing 1,500 people through that are clicking and ending up on this page, but only 195 of them, less than 200 of them, are converting. So what happens to those other 1,305 individuals? Absolutely nothing. We're not targeting them. Or what about our appointment stage? All we're doing is we're focusing our effort on these 23 conversions here that spit out the other end, and we get our handful of closings, right? But out of 1,500 people, don't you think you can get 5, 6 closings, somewhere in that range? Don't you think you can find 5 or 6 people out of 1,500 that actually need a loan? If you can't, something's wrong, right? But we're doing nothing to address all the waste of the people that aren't converting. We're not retargeting. We're not doing anything. But what I can tell you is when you're putting up $16,000 a month in profit, it's, again, very easy for us to come in and say, okay, let's up our fire hose just by another 500 individuals. So we're only spending about another, $300-400 a month in traffic. But if we really want to see how wild things get in a hurry, now we're over $22,000 in monthly profit. And all I did was just double my traffic. By the end of this stage, by the end of this video, all I've done was double my traffic. It's not like I tripled and quadrupled and all those things. I doubled my traffic. I A/B split test here. I A/B split test here. And then I preload at this stage here prior to that phone call. We're making that phone call with an uphill battle because we haven't done a darn thing to warm the people up and make them look forward to hearing from you, and that's a huge problem. So those are the 3 changes that I've made, and then of course I upped the traffic flow. So that's the magic. That's the magic of math, guys. Is it's undeniable, but most people never take the time. They say, split testing. They'll play around with Facebook ads for a little bit and landing pages, and if they're not getting a closed loan within a month or 2, they're shutting everything off, going, this doesn't work for me. When the reality is they weren't doing it right out of the gate. Going out and paying for templates and all these things that are not customized and don't address these stages properly and what we call engagement and wow moments, easy win moments. If we aren't having those moments, then of course you're not going to ever get beyond that $2,700. I mean, you may be lucky to get 1 extra closing, but you're going to struggle and you're going to spend a whole lot of money to do it because everything is inefficient. Because we don't have a proper funnel. We don't have proper differentiation. So people feel like, hey, what's the difference if I do business with you or the next 10 guys that I see here on Facebook? So they let their wallet do the decisions for them. Who's going to get me the lowest rates and the lowest closing costs and lowest out of pocket? That's all I care about. They revert to that when we have done nothing to differentiate through any of these steps. And that's what I'm going to be showing you guys here shortly, is the differentiation that makes these numbers possible. Because none of these numbers are difficult. Getting a 13% conversion rate, if we can't do that, we shouldn't be in sales and marketing, guys. We should definitely be finding a different job. All these numbers are very, very doable and very realistic. Okay? So we let cold hard math do our calculating for us and prove that just with small tweaks, small changes, we can have huge, huge results out the other end. And that means a lot more money in your pocket, 6 figures worth of an improvement in your payday by making these small changes. And you saw it here. Wait till you see what I do next in the next video. In the meantime, make an awesome rest of your day. If you want to chat, if you want us to take a look at your funnel, then by all means, click reply to this email. I'm more than happy to chat with you. Me and my partners, we're very busy, guys. We do have a lot of individuals reaching out to talk to us, so please be patient. but send us an email. I'm more than happy to chat with you and take a closer look at your funnel and see what we can do to help so that you can enjoy numbers similar to this. All right, guys, make it a great day. Chat with you soon.